ask you about a 4-on-3 penalty kill. Let's reverse it. What are the nuances of a 4-on-3 power play, and what goes on with that?
You're like Curious George back there, huh?
Well, I'm actually going to write.
I got lots of time afterwards if you want to go over it.
I'm actually going to write about that.
You know, when you're killing, you're identifying obviously the team you're playing. Do they have a face-off play? Do they have a shooter? If it's obviously you think of Pasternak right away. You're gonna Ovechkin. You're gonna know and understand they're probably trying to go to that guy. Who might be the passers or a pass-first guy? Can you catch him and jump him? Loose puck races, battles. Can you win it? Entries. Can you isolate a guy? When you do get possession, can you kill a second or two? Because it's not a 5-on-4. There's fewer guys out there. Obviously, there's more time and more space. So there's lots of different either tactics or strategies that can be employed. When you break down the game, however, you break down just 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 4-on-3, 5-on-3, 5-on-4, 4, the opposite, killing power play. You have hundreds of situations in a game that could happen. So last night it's 4-on-3. The amount of times that situation does happen, you don't get a lot of practice reps at it. So, more experienced players, more experienced guys do matter. And then you're looking at shot blocking guys. Obviously Matthias Samuelsson is our best shot blocking defenseman. You don't have him. Bush played a pretty good role in that yesterday. Yokoharu doesn't do a bad job. On the offensive side, power play side, at your curiosity, there's lots of details. Again, the same thing. When you take a shot, are you able to converge underneath the penalty killers? So the timing of a shot. Are you going to put a net front screen? Or are you going to look for seams and manipulate the penalty killers for more of an open look rather than a screenshot look? And 4-on-3, most of the time it is that. You're trying to open up something, a high-grade shot rather than a shot through a screen.
Is it to your advantage to have two guys off the ice instead of 5-on-4 on a 4-on-3 power play? Is it to your advantage? There are fewer.
I don't know. I don't know what the numbers say, but it is. It's usually what happens when you get in that situation. The power play actually shrinks the zone, and tactically you would want them to do that. You don't want to get caught out away from the front of your net. So lots of times, even 5-on-4, the power play versus the penalty kill can be broken down to who gets impatient first. If the penalty kill gets impatient and you can get them impatient, they'll move further from the net front and open up more seams and potential shot rebound where you can get underneath them in numbers, the penalty kill. If the penalty kill holds back and the power play gets impatient and they start shrinking the zone and skating toward the penalty kill to make passes, advantage penalty kill. So you'd be shocked, and you look and go through it and you can break down power plays and penalty kill and goals to see which unit was more patient than the other or less patient than the other, being the power play versus the penalty kill. So many goals happen that way. It's pretty incredible when you do look at it.
What have you thought about the way that Rasmus has navigated these last couple of weeks, coming back from the injury, and obviously with where you guys are at, the role that he plays? I guess what has impressed you about the way that he's kept attacking it and sort of just trying to, when he's not feeling well, still trying to, be an important piece?
Yeah, Rasmus always tries to resolve and remedy anything adverse through elevating compete, and with that there's a ton of emotion, and sometimes that emotion is not completely in control, but it's great. It's a great characteristic of his. He has a deep care, and that passion pushes him. But as a young player, these are different stressful situations that he's gaining experience in, and the experience he's gaining is really for him is how to control his energy and funnel it the right way. He wants to, we've all watched him for years now. When he gives up a goal, he wants to get it back immediately. So sometimes you lose the ability to even read a play. You're just trying to dictate and influence the play now. and it might not be to your advantage. You're trying to stick handle through somebody and do it now because you want to resolve the mistake that just happened without the patience of waiting for the best opportunity to do that. And so these situations where he feels more pressure, he's obviously elevating his compete, and somewhere in there he's going to find a greater balance of how to pick his spots. And that's a process he's into, and it's a great position that we're in as an organization, fighting for a playoff spot in extended time here, with some ups and downs within that he can use that, and we do as coaches day to day to help him look at this scenario. Might not be a time to try to toe drag a guy. You might just wait to fight another day and make sure that puck gets deep. What point are you in your shift? How tired are you? You know, we see him a lot of times at the end of a power play or at the end of 45 seconds on a power play, try to push and make a skill play, but your skill deficiency after 45, 50 seconds on the ice is incredible. I don't care, it doesn't matter how elite you are. So managing those situations are something I think that, he's, with our heightened demand right now, he's working to get better at.
What has stood out about Bogash his development this year in Rochester? He obviously had a different journey, missing a lot of time last year, but what's helped him reach another level?
His grind. He attacks every day at a very, I mentioned Darlene, Lukas has an incredible compete to him. Everything matters. Every puck battle, preparation before a game matters. The practice the day before the game matters. It matters. He when that puck drops, he wants to win, and he has a very, very good situational awareness. He knows what job needs to get done. Defensive, I need to block this shot right now, and boom, he blocks the shot. I need to get this puck out. We don't need to make a fancy play. We don't need to make a pretty play. I've got two defensemen on the ice that are tired. This puck just needs to get out. So he has an incredible situational awareness for his age and experience that I think is the reason why he can be effective and was effective even last night in his very first NHL game. Went to the front of the net at the right time, pushed off the guy at the right time, and knew there was an opportunity coming before it came because of situational awareness. The other goal, or the second goal he was in on, that was the goal he scored. The second one was an entry play. He just turned his stick to tip it because he knew we had another support player there. So he didn't catch it, try to stick handle and try to find the support guy. He already knew he was there before the puck came. Situational awareness. And then immediately zone entry situation. I've got to drive the defenseman back because it's on entry. Push depth right away. You'll see in the video, as soon as he kicked it out by our bench, he drove the entire defensive group on the other team back to the net, which opened up the zone for pass options. So that is a situational awareness that is very impressive with him.
I think you mentioned his situational awareness even back in preseason. Do you remember when you first saw that in him? Was it
immediately?
right?
Sorry to cut you off, Jordan,
okay.
But immediately you see it instantly. You just see a guy that has a sense of objective. Paul just asked about what are the objectives in power play and penalty kill. Some guys get it immediately and they know it. You don't have to even talk to him about it, and he does. That's a skill that he has. That's a very intangible skill that's not hard to see when you're cutting down film every day trying to teach other guys that type of an awareness.
What do you have to see? Sorry, Bill. Just the reaction on the bench when he scored. I know you guys tied the game. You're excited, but I mean, there's a photo that guys are just going. They're ecstatic. I mean, you can see you smiling in the background. What does that say about the group? I guess that happiness for sharing that moment with them.
Yeah, I think it says a lot. I think everybody on that bench can tell you details about their first goal in the National Hockey League, and I think when they're around somebody that goes through that, I think it rekindles that within themselves as well. And then I would say the other component that comes to mind for me is just training camp. We really use training camp. I commend our older players, Okposo, Gergensons, Anderson, for making all the guys come in here and feel like they're Buffalo Sabres. They're important to this organization, whether they're going to end up at the end of training camp in Rochester or not. They're part of the Buffalo Sabres, and so when Lukas comes back, I think he feels very welcomed in that locker room by the group. And I think you're mentioning a picture on the bench and the emotions on the bench after he scored. I think there was genuine enthusiasm for a guy they got to know over the course of the last two seasons.
We haven't
shootouts this year? What goes into your picking a lineup for the shootout?
First of all, that is a real challenge when you haven't seen many and guys don't have many reps at it, because shootouts, they're hot and cold. Even the best players have streaks, hot and cold. They're feeling it and then they're not feeling it. And when you have such intermittence between them, you don't know if there's no chance of a guy being hot. So now you're looking at that list of players and you're saying, okay, I got a list of talented guys here. Maybe who's feeling it in the game, who's got a little bit more confidence right now in what they're doing, specifically to scoring. And so you're looking at potential, guys that scored in the game and where they may fit in. And then the assistant coaches do a lot of work, even post-practice, and Mike Bales with the goalies of that specific thing, shootouts. And they actually try to manufacture pressure on them a little bit with either having competition of it. And they take an inventory of who's doing well. Mike Bales will look at that maybe with the goalie that we're playing against and the style he plays. And there's communication. They put together a list before the game of potential shooters, and then communication right at the post game on the bench between Mike Bales up top and Matt Ellis and the rest of the assistants to kind of put a list and an order together who we want to make a decision on that at that point.
You have guys clamoring to get in, saying, hey, let's
sometimes you do, and sometimes you look at a guy and you're like, he looks like you don't want him to look at him right now. It's interesting. So.
Is Darlene one of us looking at you like?
Darlene was probably mad at me going home last night. Yes, yeah, and he honestly was told he was going to be the next guy to go, and but yeah, he's always chomping at the bit.
What have you seen from Jack Quinn so far this season that has allowed him to flourish on that line with Dylan and JJ? And from a coaching perspective, now that he's kind of realized his potential, what's the ceiling look like for this kid?
Yeah, the ceiling is. I don't know what the ceiling is. I mean, it's high. It's high because he's highly intelligent. So he learns every day, and he competes. And you see him engaging physically, and he's giving up 20, 30 pounds, and he's giving up considerable strength. But just in reviewing last night's game, there was a dozen incidents where he actually engaged physically in extended possession through battle, and he was down on one knee on several of them, but fighting to get back up and maintaining possession just with his hand skills, where most young players with that one thrust, they would be knocked off the puck. He won't accept that, and he has the skill to extend possession, and anybody that can extend possession in this league has a pretty good future, because it is not a league friendly for creating time and space. He does that through that compete that I said, and the hand skills and awareness as well. So he's pretty impressive.
Has he found another level just in the last week or 10 days? But it seems like the last 4 or 5 games he's holding the puck longer. He's making more plays. You can count on 2 or 3 plays he makes at least a game.
Yeah,
Seems like.
I think he is, Bill. To answer your question, that he is finding another level, and I think he's just going to continue to do that based on his habits. What I said, he watches film every day, and he watches other players, watches himself in the context of the game and opportunities that he had or forewent. So he's really engaged in continuing to move, off any plateau he's on, and yeah, it's when we can give him that opportunity, there's no hesitation for me to give him ice time because he's responsible. I say to the players all the time, you want more ice time, be more responsible. Ice time is responsibility. And for him, he's a very responsible player. If he does make a mistake, he knew the mistake that he made. We don't have to tell him and say, hey, you got to learn this. He actually knows it. And he was hedging one or the other, which is part of the game. You have to do that. So he has proven to be a very responsible guy, and I think that we can give him the ice time that's going to help him develop now.
This has become an offense-driven league in a lot of ways, but what do you think it should take to win a Selke trophy in today's NHL?
Whew. You are putting me on the spot. Yeah, who comes to mind for you? I mean,
watching this team, I think of Zemgus.
Yeah.
Players like that.
Yeah.
But
I would say the guy that, when I think of Selke, obviously it's defined as the best defensive forward, I think. I think of just like right away, Darlene, how he defends. Everybody thinks he's this offensive guy, but you watch how quick he defends and takes pucks away and targets top players on the other team. A guy doing that as a forward is, if he was a forward, he for sure, for me, would be in the Selke category. But he's not. He's a defenseman, obviously. But yeah, and I think Zemgus is very in tune to making sure, as I said, getting the job done that needs to be done. So yeah, he definitely has characteristics of that by his intent.
As Cousins gets more experience, do you see him in that kind of a conversation?
I think he has the potential for that, definitely. He is building an offensive game. Obviously, he's got 20-some goals, and he's an offensive thinker by instinct. So it is going to take him some time. When we go through lots of film with him on defensive details, that he's adding to his game, and he's added a lot there. He takes a lot of pride in that. So I think down the road, he will be a guy that will be mentioned in that category. Yes.
How have you seen Ukko manage the ups and downs since he's joined you guys on a full-time basis?
I think he's shortened the downs, which is really positive. That's the first thing I think of. He hasn't been down for long when he's been down, and that's a real big sign of growth, to not anchor down in a down. And he's been resilient. So I love the way he's handled it, and he's young. I mean, there's so many. If you look at just the hours of work these guys have, we did a little thing yesterday and added up all the ice time that our defensemen have had in their career, and you're talking 70 hours of work, and that's not even 4 weeks of work in a normal workforce, and that's all the training these guys have had in the NHL yet. So you can just imagine how much they're going to be better and better, and so for Upi, there's not a lot of experience there, and so for him to manage downs as well as he has to this point is significantly good.
What about Craig today? You thought maybe he'd get on the ice today? Is he nursing an injury?
He is, yeah. Yep, he is. So he's just more maintenance on the injury. That's I don't even, day to day sounds like it could be. It's probably more hour to hour. The resolve that should take place. Yep.
Thank you, Don.